Alright, so I've been doing this Longtime Toolie thing for about 6 months now, so we wanted to do a real quick just intro of the 6 most important things that I've learned so far. Number 1, I have learned that buying cheap tools, while it seems like a great idea, like, oh, I can go on eBay, find this impact driver for $34, that's going to last me a long time. No.
That cheap fuck is just going to get the cheapest ones.
Buying cheap-ass tools is going to end up costing you more money in the long run because you bought the cheap tool, then you're going to buy the expensive tool. You might as well just get it out of the way and buy a good quality tool right away. You don't need to buy something crazy expensive, but buy a reputable brand at a reputable price. Look around the holiday season, Father's Day, Labor Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July, those type of times. Go in there, get the full set, the full kit and caboodle. If you go in there when you're starting and you only buy the drill set and you don't buy the 5-pack starter set, it's going to end up costing you about $300 or $400 more because you're going to always need the oscillating tool, you're going to need the impact driver, you're going to need the drill, you're going to need the circular saw. Just get the pack to start with. They usually throw in 2 batteries and that's worth about $100, $150 by itself. Number 1, don't buy cheap shit. Number 2, second up on the list is the cheap-ass drill bits. Do not get those. When I first started, I went down to Harbor Freight, got like the 500 or so set, and everything about it was terrible. Even though it costs like $25, yeah, 500, you think, oh, even if some of these are bad, it's going to end up being okay. It's not okay because all of your drill sets, all of your little drill bits, they're all going to get stripped out. It's going to strip out your screws. It's going to strip out everything. You do not want those. No cheap drill bits allowed ever. Get good ones. Titanium something. I don't even know if that's a material that they use. Get the strongest one they have. It's going to last a long time. Those are the ones that you want. And you're going to be losing them too. So might as well get 2 packs of the good ones. Number 3, and this one was super surprising to me. I had no idea when I was first getting started and I was coming up with the different measurements. I think it was building Gus's little bed that I built for Gus. I had no idea that a 2x4 is not in fact a 2x4. It is a 1.5 by 3.5. I had no idea. That shit should be against the law. Any other industry in the world, you can't get away with that. You can't. You have to tell people if it's a 1.5 by 3.5 instead of a 2x4 because calculations are important. What's next? Are we going to wait a couple months and a couple years and next thing you know a 2x4 is going to be a 1x2? Is that what we're going to do? We can't do that. But you have to know when you go to one of the big box stores, it's not really a 2x4. It's a 1x3. It's not really a 2x6. It's a 1.5 by 5.5. And the only one that's actually usually pretty accurate is the length. They don't short you on the length. They just don't. Same thing with my penis. I don't short you on the length there either. Slender as hell, but not the length. Number 4. Now this one is embarrassing for me to admit straight off the bat. Pilot holes.
Second part should have been faster because I should have just been drilling in and doing like pilot holes and all that. Never going to do pilot holes. I'm firmly on the record. I will never do a pilot hole.
My biggest struggle when I was first starting, it wasn't the cuts. Making the cuts was a little bit difficult, if you remember the old bike rack video.
I don't have a lot of confidence in myself here. That sounds good.
Making the cuts is not that difficult for me at the beginning. It was for sure getting the screws started and everybody was chirping. Dude, you gotta do pilot holes, And in my brain, I'm like, pilot holes? Then you gotta get out another fucking tool to do that? You gotta drill? That's gonna take longer. No, it's shorter. The screws go in so much easier. It takes so much less time. It feels like it's going to take more time, but I promise you it doesn't. If you're just getting started, you have got to use pilot holes. Not only does it save you time, but it's gonna make everything look so much more clean too, because you're not gonna be fumbling around. You're not gonna be putting the drill through the piece of wood and then you're gonna have blowout on the side where you have to fix it and sand it, all that shit. Trust me, it takes less time. Do a pilot hole. I was wrong. Hand up. I was big time wrong. I learned that from my boss. Dave Portnoy is the fastest one to put his hand up in the air. I'm going to put my hand up in the air. I was wrong. Pilot holes, worth their weight in gold. Number 5, and this one's going to catch some of you off guard. Everybody needs a level, right? You have a level. Most people go with a 12-inch, 24, maybe a 48-inch. Here's what I believe. If you have a shop and you don't have a 96-inch level, you don't have a shop. You need it. People are constantly saying all over this weekend when I showed what I had, they're like, you don't need a 96-inch level. That's ridiculous. I've been working in carpentry for 20 years. I don't need that thing. No, you do. You need the 96 inches, and I'm going to tell you why on Friday. That's what we call in the biz a little bit of a teaser. Friday that's coming up, you're going to see why you need this 96-inch level, and you're going to love it, and you're going to go on the internet, and you're going to buy it for the low price of $54.99. And finally, number 6, what I've learned throughout this entire process, you got to take your time, fellas. You're not in a hurry. You can't just go out there and be like, I gotta knock this bench out, I wanna do it in 25 seconds. You know where I think that old adage comes from? It comes from doing road trips with your parents, where you're like, oh, I'm making good time. You have a couple other buddies who do shop type of shit too, and they wanna make good time. They wanna say, oh, I made my bench in 90 minutes. It wasn't that big of a deal. If it takes you 3 hours, it takes you 3 hours. If you notice something's off from the beginning, fix it right there. Don't say, oh, it's gonna be okay. I have this little half-inch gap, a little quarter-inch gap. By the time you're done, if you have a longer project, that little quarter-inch gap is going to make a big difference. Make sure everything's flush. Make sure that you know the definition of plumb. I didn't. I said vertical, up and down level. It's plumb. People roasted me for that. You got to know what plumb is. Take it slow. This is a hobby. Like, unless you're doing it for your actual job, which, God bless you guys, I don't know how your backs handle it. My back is killing me over the last couple of months. You've got to take your time and just enjoy the process. The finishing steps are the ones that people hate the most. Sanding and painting and all that stuff, but those can be the difference of making a really good table that lasts a long time, and one looks like it, you just threw it together. If you're going to take the time and the effort and the money with fucking 2x4s costing $8 now or whatever it is, just take your time, make it fun, and have a good time with it. Don't rush through it. Now, one of the best parts about the Longtime Toolie experience is that we have a little community that we can share with, because let's be honest, nobody really gives a fuck about what you're building. People who don't do any type of carpentry or they don't do any woodworking, they don't give the first shit that you built a bench. They just don't. We do. DM us at Longtime Toolies on Instagram or Twitter. Follow us on Pinterest. Do all that stuff, and we'll share your stuff. Toolie Tuesdays. It's coming up tomorrow. Go to Longtime Toolies on Instagram and Twitter. DM us the projects. We want to see it. Some will roast, some we won't, but I promise you we'll have a little bit of community where people can see it. If you did a good, nice little bar in your basement, people are going to say, holy shit, dude, let me suck your dick. That's exactly what they're going to do. Longtime Toolies. We'll see you again on Friday, where you'll see why the 96-inch level is the best level in the history of the world.